Reggae music has its roots in roots, culture, and resistance, but beneath the inspirational beats and Rastafarian messages lies a history that few listeners ever hear, a story of pain, addiction, and tragic disintegration. Ages ago, however, marijuana, or herb, had a religious role and was bound up with Rastafarian creed. With growing international use of reggae, though, the culture shifted. Popularity, pressure, and availability brought hard drugs in on the fringe of the culture: cocaine, heroin, crack. Reggae music lost some of its most legendary voices. To begin with, there is Gregory Isaacs, the cool ruler himself. Gregory Isaacs was one of Jamaica's most talented reggae singers, with the nickname the Cool Ruler because of his smooth, emotive voice. He began his music career in 1968 as Winston Sinclair and collaborated with fellow musician Errol Dunkley to form African Museum record label and shop. This project paid off with the release of My Only Lover, which is generally regarded as the first lovers rock reggae track. Over the following several years, Isaacs recorded many of his popular hits, including ballads of love, deep-rooted reggae, among some of his initial successes that include All I Have Is Love, Lonely Soldier, Black Akey, Black Extra Classic, and Loving Pauper. Isaacs, by the late 1970s, was among the world's most popular reggae artists, sharing this rank along with Dennis Brown and Bob Marley. In the early 1980s, he signed with Island Records, a major label which introduced reggae music to an even wider audience. His breakthrough came when in 1982 he released Night Nurse. Though not a huge chart success in the US or UK, it was a club hit and received widespread radio airplay. The album peaked at number 32 in the UK, and the song became so popular that a cold and flu medication used it in their commercial. But as his professional career soared, Isaacs was having problems at home, including a serious problem with substance abuse that began in 1982. He was busted for possessing illegal firearms and was sentenced to 6 months behind bars in Kingston, claiming the weapons were for protection, although it was actually his 27th arrest. His drug use led him into trouble, and crack began to erode his health and voice, and he lost a majority of his teeth by 2007. His wife went on to clarify that the addiction made him paranoid, unstable, and extremely insecure. During an interview in 1988, Isaacs confessed how addiction destroyed his friendships, damaged his family, and nearly destroyed his music career. Unfortunately, his condition further deteriorated, and he passed away in 2010 after a battle with lung cancer. Bob Marley. Bob Marley was a singer, musician, and songwriter from Jamaica, and a key player in the development of reggae music. He combined reggae, ska, and rocksteady types of music to create a new form that earned him global fame. The second well-known aspect of Marley's life was his promotion of cannabis use, which he consumed as naturally as one eats when hungry or drinks when thirsty. By the 1970s, marijuana was a part of his daily routine, with some reports stating that he smoked up to 18 joints in a day at any time. For Marley, cannabis smoking was more than recreational. It was religious. In 1966, he had converted from Catholicism to Rastafarianism, a religion that regards marijuana, or ganja, as sacred. Rastafarians believe that smoking facilitates meditation, establishes a connection with God, and imparts wisdom. Marley was a complete believer in this philosophy and a firm advocate of the legalization of marijuana. Even after his arrest for possession in 1968, he never changed his beliefs and persisted in using it as a means of self-discovery and spiritual evolution. He once stated that smoking herb reveals the true individual and conscience, promoting meditation as a natural process. Marley, despite his excessive cannabis use, was revered for having sound morals and used his music to convey messages of peace, love, and justice, inspiring millions of individuals across the globe. Majik Fashek. Majik Fashek was a Nigerian reggae legend singer, songwriter, and guitarist, revered for his classic music and spiritually profound lyrics. His musical career began in the early 1980s when he played as Rajesh Khanal. He became a member of a reggae band called Jawsticks, comprising the musicians Amos, Roy, Greg, and Black Rice. The band gained popularity as the house band for the music show Panorama on NTA Benin. In 1987, after Jawsticks dissolved, he renamed himself Majik Fashek and embarked on a solo career. He recorded with Banzi Records and released his debut album, Prisoner of Conscience. The album, which included the hit single Send Down the Rain, was a massive success in Nigeria in 1988, and it led people to believe that Majik Fashek possessed supernatural powers, as the song was released during a period of drought that was broken by heavy rains shortly after. He took home a total of 6 awards, among them Song of the Year, Album of the Year, and Reggae Artist of the Year. His popularity worldwide grew, and in 1992 he appeared on Late Night with David Letterman, one of America's top talk shows at the time. Despite his success, Majik Fashek had personal issues, including drug addiction and alcoholism. By 2015, his fortunes had dwindled. He had lost wealth and fame and was seen walking the streets of Lagos in a weak and unkempt state. His downfall shocked many, given his previous performances on large international stages. His then-former backup singer, Monica Omada, initiated a GoFundMe campaign to assist him in getting off the streets and into rehabilitation. Apart from his addiction problems, he also had other serious health complications. Majik Fashek passed away in his sleep on June 1, 2020, in New York City at the age of 57, where the cause of death was esophageal cancer. Dennis Brown. Dennis Brown was a renowned Jamaican reggae vocalist who achieved popularity, particularly in the lovers rock style, which is identified by a smooth and romantic sound. He began his music career at the age of 11, recording his first record, Lips of Wine, for producer Derek Harriott in the late 1960s, although it was never released. Shortly after, he recorded with the legendary producer Clement Dodd at the famous Studio One label, where he recorded No Man is an Island. The song caught on and was a massive hit in Jamaica by the end of 1969. Dennis Brown's popularity extended beyond Jamaica by 1972, when he was requested to record an album by producer Joe Gibbs. One of the tracks from this album, Money in My Pocket, was a particular favorite among reggae lovers in the UK and a staple of his live performances. He continued to score hits with singles like Cassandra, No More Will I Roam, and Africa, which showcased his staunch Rastafarian beliefs. Dennis Brown struggled with personal demons despite his success and achievements, and these included an addiction to crack cocaine. He consistently denied that these issues were a part of his life, although he conceded that the rumors of them damaged his career. Those close to him, such as DJ Ranking Joe, were aware of his issues. Dennis Brown's health began to decline in the late 1990s, likely due to years of drug use. It was in May 1999, while on tour in Brazil, that he fell seriously ill and was diagnosed with pneumonia, forcing him to fly back to Jamaica to recover. Unfortunately, on June 30, 1999, his condition got worse, and he was taken to Kingston's University Hospital, where he suffered cardiac arrest and passed away the following day. Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh was a Jamaican reggae artist, renowned as an original member of the Wailers, along with Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer. After his departure from the Wailers, he achieved tremendous solo success. One of the key features of his activism was the legalization of cannabis, which he championed quite openly. His first solo album, Legalize It, was released in 1976 and was a rallying call for reggae fans and cannabis activists. Tosh not only sang about cannabis, but he openly advocated marijuana, regularly smoking in public, even on stage. He signed with Rolling Stones Records in 1978, and his album Bush Doctor, featuring the hit duet Don't Look Back with Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, was released. Tosh also performed at the One Love Peace concert in Jamaica, where he made headlines for his rebellious attitude. There, he smoked a joint on stage and delivered a fiery speech criticizing politicians Michael Manley and Edward Seaga for failing to legalize cannabis. While the crowd applauded, his actions did not go unnoticed by the police. It was only months later, in September 1978, that Tosh was arrested in Kingston for smoking. He was severely beaten during the arrest and sustained a broken hand, as well as head injuries that required stitches. Despite these setbacks, Tosh never lost faith, saying the now immortal words, "Ganja has everything to do with the upliftment of the mind. What am I without herb, and what is herb without me?" Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor was a reggae vocalist respected for his smooth and soulful voice. He began working with some of Jamaica's top producers, such as Winston 90 and The Observer, and between them they produced two large Jamaican hits, Just a Feeling and Sation. It was in 1983, however, that he achieved global acclaim with the song Cottage Negro, which was a massive hit. This made him the best-selling singer of 1983, and he was signed to the major record label MCA. They released an album titled Pledge to the Sun in a bid to build on the success of Cottage Negro, but the album failed, and MCA lost interest. Taylor was then booked onto a European tour without the support of the label, which made him feel abandoned by the music industry. He eventually walked out of his deal, and his career began to decline. He struggled with addiction during this period, which made things even worse for him. By the late 1980s, he was recording only infrequently, but staged a brief revival in 1987 with songs like Members Only and Be For Real. In 1994, he joined forces with producer Clive Hunt to release the hit single Rainy Sunset. Despite these fleeting successes, Taylor's personal demons, including years of drug addiction and alcoholism, took a terrible toll on him. He wound up homeless, spending most of the final 18 years of his life on the streets of Los Angeles' Skid Row, a neighborhood with a dense population of homeless. In 2007, he suffered 2 strokes that left him wheelchair-bound, and he passed away later that year due to complications from prostate cancer. These legends gave the world their soul through music, but behind the rhythm and rebellion was pain that often went unheard. Addiction doesn't discriminate. It took from reggae, just as it's taken from every genre, every generation, every corner of the world. Drugs didn't just destroy careers, they stole lives, robbed the culture, and left fans mourning what could have been. Let their stories be a warning, not a guide. You don't need drugs to feel airy. Let the music lift you up, not the drugs that pulled so many down. Honor the legends by learning from them. Stay aware, stay strong, and most importantly, stay clean. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe for more real music history, and comment below. Whose reggae artist legacy means the most to you?